Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. This video is part 1 about the new moon in Gemini. Part 2 is available on Patreon, where I go into sun, moon, and rising placements. So when it comes to this new moon in Gemini, there are 5 things that I want to share with you about this new moon energy. And the first is about the numerology. So when it comes to this new moon energy, I always want to start out with us being in a universal year number 9. So with us being in a universal year number 9, to me, this is a year that reflects the ending and the beginning. Always want to think of a circle. And when you think of a circle, because the ending is the beginning, there's always a reason to celebrate. So when I think of us being in a universal year number 9, to me, it brings me to like a reset in energy. It's almost like I think of like, say, being in school, and it's like you've went through elementary school and you're a senior, but when you get to middle school, you're going to be a freshman again. Or when you're in, the top grade in elementary, when you go to high school, you're going to be a freshman again. I think of in every aspect of our lives, when we rise up out of different levels, we go from being at the top of our game to being at the very bottom as we learn something new, as we get used to something new. So being in a 9th year, to me, it's like we're getting ready to be at the bottom of something again because we're starting new again. Whether something is evolving to the next level, and as it evolves to the next level, we're at the bottom stages of it, or, something comes to an end and we're starting from scratch. And with that being said, this has to do with something pertaining to Gemini energy, but I'll get deeper into Gemini energy as we get into the video. So we keep that we're in a 9 universal year in mind, and that things are coming to a major ending and major beginnings are starting. When I think of major endings and major beginning, I think of like generational type endings, some things that have been happening for some time, or things that are starting, or things that are going to be a part of our world for a really long time. And with this being a new moon in Gemini, this could reflect a new beginning that's going to be a part of our world for some time. And this Gemini new moon could reflect this fresh start. But then say when we go into a Gemini new moon in 2026 and we're in a 1 universal year, maybe that's when the real beginnings start, where this could reflect like a preview of a beginning when it comes to Gemini type energy. So this new moon is happening in the month of May. And May for me is a wild card energy, as it is connected to the number 5. It's the 5th month. And the number 5 deals with sudden and unexpected changes. To me, the number 5 is that glitch in the matrix. And it is from the glitch in the matrix that we become aware that we're in this system, in this cycle. And the number 5 energy to me is that sudden and unexpected change that brings in newness, that brings in something different. It's like a rebellious energy, because it's so different from the matrix energy. It's like, it's the way out. And the number 5 energy to me sometimes could deal with chaos, where it'll seem like, this chaotic thing is happening, and it's only chaotic because we don't understand it. And it's only sudden and unexpected because our attention was somewhere else. Where normally when we sit and we observe the thing that appeared to happen sudden and unexpectedly, we'll realize that there was a buildup to it. So with this new moon happening in the month of May, it brings me to like a lot of distractions, or a lot of different things that we might be focusing our attention on, or, you know, we're overstimulated with the different things we're focusing our attention on. And from focusing on different things, some things could catch us off guard, but it was just because of where our attention was focused. And the number 5 to me also too is one that is associated with luck and opportunity. It's like the sudden and unexpected thing happens. And depending on, say, where our frequency is, what we're aligned with, what we know we can have, it's like we can align ourselves up with some amazing things and bring in some powerful changes into our world. So this new moon is on the 26th. And the 26th, first, the number 2 is nurturing. The number 6 is community oriented. The number 2 is feminine. The number 6 is also feminine because they're both equal numbers. And both the number 2 and the number 6 are caretaking energy. The number 2 is more of a caretaking energy because it's a partnership energy. It's like us, you know, it's we energy when you think of the number 2. Where when you look at the number 6, it looks pregnant. And the number 6 to me would remind me of like social workers, being responsible for each other, being responsible for our communities. When I think of the number 26, 2 plus 6 is 8. I find that people who are born on the 26th or have strong 26 within their chart are people who are big on history. They're big on, say, history or social studies or things that have to do with their local community, their culture, and the systems or the cycles or the stories behind that. So with the day being the 26th of the new moon, there is this unifying energy that the 26 brings. There's this collective energy that the 26 brings, but 2 plus 6 is 8. And the number 8 is like the overseer. So it's the one who is the supervisor. It's the one who is in charge of the whole, the one who feels this sense of responsibility. It's also a teacher and student energy when I think of the number 8 energy. So when I think of the number 8 energy, when it comes to this new moon, I think of like a new cycle coming about. And this new cycle has to do with connections and relationships. And the energies in the day of the new moon adds up and reduces the number 20, or adds up to the master builder number 22, but 2 plus 2 is 4. And with the number 22 energy being present, the master builder number 22 is double, it's like the number 2 energy being amplified. And I feel like master numbers could be a lot if the person who has the master number wasn't guided to deal with all this energy. Because with, say, the number 2 amplified with the master builder number 22, I come across normally people who tend to be amazing workers or hard workers, dedicated parents and good friends, and just like the energy is spread thin where the nurturing aspect of the number 2 is concerned, but it's more outward focused, and that person might lack in self-care, lack in being a good nurturer of self. So with the day adding up and reducing to what the day adding up to the number 22 energy, it brings me to, when it comes to this new moon energy, some of us could find ourselves distracted, focusing on everything outside of ourselves. And again, 2 plus 2 is 4, even though we don't reduce master number energies. With the number 4 energy being present, this new moon brings in some new beginning that plays into this sense of security or stability, something that helps us to focus or build the foundation. The new moon is at 6 degrees. And again, the number 6 brings our attention to community, brings our attention to responsibility. It's a family-oriented energy, and it ties into Gemini energy. And talking about Gemini energy brings me to the second thing that I want to speak about when it comes to this new moon in Gemini. And the second thing is what happens whenever we have a new moon in Gemini. And what happens when we have a new moon in Gemini? So first of all, a new moon is when the sun and the moon are together at the exact degree. So they are together. And for me, with the new moon energy, it's like having parents who are on the same accord, who are together. So it's like having parents who are on the same accord, because, and I say parents because the sun would reflect the father energy and the moon reflects the mother energy. So at a new moon, they are conjunct, they are together. It's almost like they're coming together to procreate, where the sun would reflect the idea, the moon would reflect nurturing the idea that the sun planted within or fertilized within the moon, the number 2. And then this new moon would bring us to the number 3, a creative expression or some kind of new beginning, hence a new moon reflecting new beginning. So a new moon will reflect a new beginning. And like I was saying, with the sun and moon being together, like father and mother energy being together, I think whenever the sun and moon are apart within our chart, it could reflect this division within us, as when we are with the mother, we're missing out on the father. When we're with the father, we're missing out on the mother. This could look like aspects within our sign. When we're diving into this side of ourselves, we're missing out on the other side of ourselves, especially when these, the sun and the moon are at a certain position that creates a negative aspect. But with the new moon, this is positive energy, because I think of the masculine and the feminine energy of us being unified. It's able to come together and create. This is where our procreating energies come together. And with it in Gemini, it reflects a new beginning when it comes to maybe a relationship with our siblings. Gemini reflects our siblings. It reflects our community, our local community. So it's like someone discovering this new space, this new place that was like down the street from you and you didn't even know that it was there. It could be a new beginning where someone from your past reaches out, and it's like, you know, all of a sudden you run into someone from your past, or maybe you're speaking to someone and they bring the person up, and you might not even say connect with the person from the past, but just their name coming up brings you down memory lane and sparks something new within you. But there's definitely, or could be, an influence from the past, where it could be someone you went to elementary school with, an ex-coworker, an ex-friend. This new moon in Gemini also brings an opportunity when it comes to, say, social media. Maybe someone is finally deciding to start that podcast, finally deciding to start the YouTube channel, finally deciding to start the blog. Gemini energy also deals with education. Maybe someone is deciding to go back to school, but Gemini's education is more like, say, you're going to a community college, or you're purchasing a certificate program or something of that nature, or you're purchasing an online course. But new moon in Gemini, going back to school, or maybe deciding to teach something, to, you know, create your own course or launch your own course. You know, those are some things coming up, or start a new social media presence, making changes when it comes to your social media presence, or some things that I'm thinking about when it comes to this new moon in Gemini. The third thing that I want to share with you is the challenges pertaining to this new moon in Gemini. When I look at the challenges, I look at, say, Jupiter in Gemini is a part of a square between Saturn that has moved in Aries, conjunct Neptune in Aries. So when I look at, say, Saturn and Neptune energy in Aries, Saturn in Aries with Neptune, for me, Saturn is bringing in structure and discipline when it comes to who we are as individuals. So there's a lot of focus on us. And when it comes to Jupiter in Gemini, when you think of Gemini, you think of the twins. It will remind me of the number 2 energy, the unifying, connecting energy. So there's a challenge when it comes to focusing on ourselves in relations to others, or focusing on ourselves or separating ourselves from something, where it'll feel as if, like, when it comes to this new moon energy, it's like, I think of, you know, everybody in such a good space where we're so focused on we, to the point that it feels like it might not feel like a good thing to focus on I. It's like we're so focused on we to where focusing on I might not feel like a positive thing. And I feel like Mars in Leo, and Mars energy is our motivation. It's our fuel. And, you know, what motivates us and what gets us to take action. And with it in Leo, you know, we're motivated by our inner child, the need to express ourselves, to have courage, the need to be seen. And that is squaring Uranus in Taurus, but also Mercury conjunct Uranus, and Mercury is in Gemini. So to me, here we go again, where it feels like there's something around the being able to focus on me and we. It's almost like feeling like we can't have both. And for me, that brings me to the fourth thing, which is unexpected energy. And I feel like the challenges that I mentioned about the I and the we, I feel like first we have to be clear about what's important to me, what's important to I. And the reason why I say that, because I feel like the people who come off as if it's selfish to focus on self and instead seem like they're so noble and good because they're focused on everybody else, I feel like that's not authentic, in the sense that it's like, first we need to become clear about ourselves and take care of ourselves, take care of our vessel, so that we're not pouring from a cup or a container that is contaminated. Where if we're not taking care of ourselves, then we're neglecting ourselves. And if we're neglecting ourselves but taking care of everybody else, to me, that's where our help could be problematic. So when it comes to the unexpected energy around this Gemini new moon, I feel like this unexpected energy calls us to own some truth when it comes to ourselves. It's bringing our attention to some truth when it comes to ourselves in relations to others, ourselves in relations to our siblings, ourselves in relations to our peers, ourselves in relation to our community. And I personally feel, based off observing myself, like when I take good care of myself and I'm clear about my boundaries, I feel like I'm able to be authentic and honest, and I'm able to give more, I'm able to do more and be a better example in the process of doing so. Where when you think of the person who don't take care of themselves and they're spreading themselves thin, they're making a lot of mistakes. And in certain cases, people get hurt when it comes to the mistakes that they're making. And I feel like sometimes some people could unknowingly show up and they're being nasty, but they don't know they're being nasty, because deep down, you know, their body is calling them to go get rest, calling them to take care, but they're not hearing that. And because they're not hearing that, they're showing up and they're helping, but their helping is not being received the way they would want it to, because the frequency and the energy that's coming with it. And that brings me back to say, you know, the energies in the day, the Master Builder 22 energy. And with that Master Builder 22 energy, I've mentioned earlier in the video, to me, the lower frequency of that Master Builder energy is that it is so good at putting everybody in front of itself. It's so good at neglecting itself and being such a good caregiver for everybody else. And I feel like the unexpected things that are coming up is bringing our attention to the challenges, and it's really helping us to get back to focus on I. It's like, I think of the mother who takes great care of herself, and because she's mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in a good place, the children in the home just thrives. You know, that's what I'm getting when it comes to, say, the challenging aspects and the blessings they will bring. And talking about blessings, that brings me to the fifth thing. Let's pause for a bit. I am proud of the services that I offer and excited to tell you about them. If it would be your first time booking with me, then I recommend the natal chart and numerology awareness coaching session. For a while, that was the only service I offered, along with the 30 minutes tarot reading, which is still available if you're interested. I noticed the pattern. At the end of the natal chart and numerology coaching sessions, some of you would ask me for a follow-up service options for additional clarity and guidance to assist you with whatever you're going through at the moment. I kept saying, I'll look into it. I don't know why it took me so long. Finally, I have created that option, along with the service option to book a solar return chart reading for those of you who are strategic and like to plan ahead. Everything you need to know is within the description box below. Let's get back into the video. And the fifth thing that stands out to me with this new moon is the blessings. And when I look at this new moon energy, I look at the trine that the moon is a part of, and the new moon is speaking so positively to Pluto in Aquarius, and Pluto is in retrograde. And with Pluto in retrograde in Aquarius, Pluto energy deals with transformation. And in Aquarius, it's transforming our friend groups and the people we associate ourselves with. And when I think of, like, say, Pluto and Aquarius, I think of, like, say, how we all get together here in this Aquarian type of environment, in the sense that our interest in numerology or astrology brings us here together within this group, within this community. But Pluto energy starts to cause us to question the group and the community, you start to question the messaging. You start to ask yourself, am I in alignment with this? Is this my truth? Like, just because, you know, astrology is being spoken about or numerology is being spoken about, is this in alignment with my truth? Do I see it that way? Do I agree with that? Do I feel like, you know, her interpretation of numerology or astrology, it's not deep enough? Maybe I want it to dive more into shadowy aspects of things. Maybe I need this, that, or the next, whatnot. But Pluto is us reflecting on certain things when it comes to the groups we associate ourselves with, and coming to the truth of what it is that we really need inside of these groups that we're associating ourselves with. And with, say, the new moon speaking positively to Pluto energy, there's this new beginning when it comes to the people we're associating ourselves with, or maybe a new beginning when it comes to a mindset, because Gemini does have to do with the mind. And that is speaking beautifully to the changes that Pluto is making when it comes to the groups we're associating ourselves with. And Pluto and the new moon both speaks positively to Neptune and Saturn in Aries. And with Neptune and Saturn energy in Aries, we're at this, yes, with Neptune and Saturn energy in Aries, this would bring me to say, you know, we have this vision of ourselves. We have this vision of ourselves because Aries is the self, Aries is the image. So we have this vision of ourselves and how we want to be seen. And this new beginning when it comes to Gemini energy, maybe a new relationship or a fresh start when it comes to a connection with our siblings or an old friend or an old community you're rejoining with, or maybe things move to the next level when it comes to a friend or a community or where you're communicating. It's almost like we feel supported when it comes to this change that's happening within us with Saturn conjunct Neptune and Aries. And also to this, the positive aspects that's being made to the new moon. So it will bring me to new beginnings around relationships, connections, and feeling like seen or supported. Feeling seen or supported when it comes to these new connections that are being made. So I feel like that's such a blessing when it comes to this new moon in Gemini. And I feel like it's such a blessing because it's like Saturn conjunct Neptune. It's like we have this new vision for ourselves. We have these new goals. And Saturn energy just entering into Aries and conjunct Neptune, it's like it's slowing things down and helping us to be more clear about who we are, how we want to be seen, our motivations and things of that. And as we're gaining more clarity around who we are and how we want to be seen, this new moon energy supports it. And I'm loving that. I'm loving that energy around this new moon. It was a pleasure sharing this message with you. This video was part 1. Like I said, part 2 is available on Patreon. Before you go anywhere, drop me a green heart in the comment box below. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.